Chapter 1. The first time I heard Dr. Schuster's name, it was because my little old lady neighbor, Ms. Millie Flournoy, wanted to murder him. But that was the second time I met Millie. The first time, I was wearing hot pink satin PJs, an avocado face mask, and fluffy hedgehog slippers. Now, normally, I would never step foot outside my home wearing such an atrocious outfit, much less admit to owning the items. Plus, I was still getting used to administering an at-home beauty regimen rather than visiting a spa once a week. But Aunt Eliza's dreadful Boston Terrier, Ollie, wasn't in the backyard when I called him in for the night. He wasn't on the couch where Darla said she left him, and I couldn't find the little devil anywhere. Unfortunately, I inherited my aunt's dog, her house, and the dog grooming business attached to it. I'd wanted nothing more than to get back to my life in New York, where I was a senior editor at a true crime magazine. But in this internet age, the need for full-time staffers like me dried up. And I suddenly found the only work left for me was as a freelance writer back in Shongoloos, Louisiana. Since I didn't intend to stay here any longer than I had to, I put the place for sale. But so far, there hadn't been any takers. Anyway, Ollie wasn't at the Dip and Clip across the breezeway, he wasn't under any beds in the house, and I was starting to freak out a little. I had half a mind to remove my avocado mask, go to bed, and let fortune have its way with the errant Ollie, since he was the brat who'd dug his way under the fence and gone goodness knows where. After all, he's caused me plenty of grief since I've been back in my hometown. He made messes, escaped and caused chaos in the pet salon, swiped food off the end table when I turned my back to grab the remote, and I hadn't really forgiven him yet for biting me the first time we ever met, when he was a puppy. Yes, I absolutely should have gone to bed and hoped it was the last I saw of Ollie's huge ears and jaunty screw tail. But a nagging guilt pushed me out the door and down the street to search. I hissed his name as I tried to stay in the shadows so the neighbors wouldn't spot me. Maybe it was the thought of Darla chewing me out in the morning when I told her he was gone. Perhaps I didn't want Aunt Eliza's ghost haunting me because I let her dog wander off. It was definitely not because I had many positive feelings toward the little bugger. He was a pest of the highest order. I stumbled on an uneven bit of sidewalk and bit back a swear word. My eyes stung as the avocado mask dripped into them. Though the sun had gone down hours ago, it was still stiflingly hot. My blood hadn't gotten used to the change in climate from New York yet. Yoo-hoo! I came to a halt, heart speeding up at the sound of a woman's sweet southern drawl. Drat, I'd been spotted. I glanced around and found the source of the voice. A gray-haired lady stood on the porch of the grand house on my left, waving at me so hard it was a wonder her arm didn't take flight. Hi, I said. Please don't see my green mask. Please don't notice my slippers. You must be Eliza's niece, which means you're out looking for him. She pointed at the yard in front of her. Ollie lay on his back, gravity pulling on his big lips so he resembled an upside-down Cheshire cat. Cuddled into his side was a tiny Pekingese, gazing at the Boston Terrier like he was the best thing since canned dog food. He likes to come visit my Sue Lynn, the woman said. You probably haven't discovered that yet. No, I haven't. I didn't know a lot about Ollie, but what I did know was that he was a humongous pain in the rear. Ollie! Turning his head my way, his tongue lolled out to the side. He wagged his tail, but otherwise stayed put. In a hushed voice, she said, as though it were a state secret, I think they have a little crush on each other. She descended the steps slowly, using the handrail, and I realized she also wore slippers, shaped like elephants with big ears. Not only that, but she had cream spread over her face, too.